We have to be aware that wildfires do have a potential any month of the year in Colorado.
Right now on Denver 7 News at 5, 2 wildfires are burning along the Front Range, one still forcing evacuations this morning.
Plus, nearly 3 months now after the Marshall fire, plans are moving forward to remove debris from hundreds of properties. And Aurora's mayor wants to conserve water, but it might mean some homes won't have front lawns.
Plus, could the Broncos get a new stadium? The team says it could happen.
From a big picture business perspective, that will be issue number one on the next owner's plate.
Big news,
Yeah.
possibly. That will certainly get your attention. So will the price tag. Of course, all of this comes after a strange fire in the seats last week. We'll explain that coming up. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Nicole Brady, and Lisa is here with a change in the forecast from the nice, almost summer-like weather we've been seeing to back to normal, I guess.
Yeah, a much needed change though. I mean, coming off of now 2 wildfires burning here along the Front Range to some wet weather, higher humidities and cooler temperatures. You can see obviously the change out west. We have rain and snow hitting the western slope, moving, well, stretching east into the high country, and we're going to pick up a good 5 to 10 inches above about 10,000 feet out west. We'll talk more about that mountain snow coming up. I want to show you our hourly planner because typically we see a nice little warm up from the morning lows to the afternoon highs. Today, just kind of hovering in the low to even mid 50s through early afternoon. Denver right around 55. You'll find some 40s up and through the foothills. So yeah, far cry from the near 80 that we saw across most of the metro area yesterday. When it comes to alerts, winter weather advisories covering a good portion of the high country for that snow. Again, we'll take a closer look at the timing of it. Here in town, we're expecting some wet roads. That'll start happening more so by midday and early afternoon. Wet for tonight's commute. It might get a little slushy in spots tomorrow morning. Jason, details coming up.
And right now, the drive doesn't look too bad here in town, but up in the high country, we have some issues with the weather that's already moving in. You can see that at the Grand Avenue Bridge here in Glenwood Springs. Wet conditions for us here as well as on I-70. We have snowy conditions on Highway 160 near Pagosa Springs, Wolf Creek Pass. Snowing pretty good there. Also snowing pretty good here on 160 down there by Silverton and over by Durango as well. So take a look at the drive that's here in Metro Denver. Not seeing any big problems. We did have some overnight construction as you take a look at the camera there at I-70 over there at 225. The eastbound side, all lanes are now open, so no delay getting over to Pena Boulevard or to or from the airport. You can see the drive times reflect that right now. And the rest of the drive looks just fine. Denver Tech Center, C470, Santa Fe, West Side, all looking pretty good right now.
Firefighters are working to contain 2 wildfires burning along the Front Range right now. The first is the in-car fire burning south of Boulder. The other is the Soulshine fire burning east of Estes Park, which has forced some people to evacuate. 9 homes are evacuated south of Highway 74 along Soulshine Road. The fire itself is about 25 acres and 30% contained. We do expect to get an update about the in-car fire this morning at 10 a.m. The fire has burned about 190 acres. It is nearly 70% contained now. El Dorado Canyon reopens this morning.
After weeks of legal battles today, people who lost their homes to the Marshall fire will finally get some answers about debris removal. Denver 7's Christian Lopez is live in Louisville with what to expect as the cleanup finally gets underway. Christian.
Well, today people can join a virtual meeting where they can get information on what to expect as this cleanup process gets started. They'll get information on scheduling, advanced prep work, notifications, how much it all costs, and what will and won't be removed. Now, foundations, damaged driveways, and sheds will be included in the process, and trees that are hazardous and damaged vehicles will also be removed. And this all comes at a time when we've seen some fast-moving wildfires pop up recently. A reminder that fire season really is year-round now. And we did speak to a climate expert who says that fire danger is high and will remain high as long as the weather gets warmer.
And just because we've had recent precipitation, there is not a complete recovery of that drought. So there are still a lot of dry fuels out there. We can expect this to be a continuing issue that we will be faced with.
And back here in Boulder County, that meeting is at 6 tonight. You do have to register through the county's website. You'll also have the opportunity to ask any questions during that meeting. And once this work gets started, it is expected to take a few months, with the hope being that this cleanup will be completed by the summer. We're live in Louisville this morning. I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
Thank you, Christian. Broncos CEO Joe Ellis said it could be a challenge to get the repairs done to Empower Field before the team's home opener later this year. The stadium was badly damaged in a fire last week. You probably saw the images going from one seat on fire to 200 seats on fire. 14 suites were also affected. Denver Fire says the fire was accidental. They are still investigating, though. Some good news, summer concerts will not be impacted, and the Broncos say when the team gets a new owner, they'll look at upgrades to Empower Field, which could cost up to $500 million.
I believe the stadium's in good shape. We believe there are some significant upgrades that need to be done and can be done to improve it, to keep up with many of the others around the league. Will it ever be SoFi or Allegiant? Probably not.
He's at the NFL owners meeting down in Florida. The new owners of the team could also consider building a new stadium, which would cost up to $2 billion. We checked, the average age of an NFL stadium is 19 years and Empower Field is 21 years old.
So what's the latest on the Broncos sale? Ellis is in Florida for the owners meeting, and he provided a little bit of an update for us. Denver 7's Veronica ACOSTA joins us live with those details. Veronica.
Well, having a new owner by the start of the regular season, that is still very much possible. That is exactly what Joe Ellis said during that meeting yesterday, and that was during the NFL's annual meeting. He also said that meeting his target of having that owner be here by September, it's still very on par, and that's really the big hope there. But a lot more happened during yesterday's meeting. Owners actually passed a resolution encouraging increased diversity among ownership, as well as minority representation. So this directly impacts the Broncos. The team is up for sale, as you all know. The league has also made this very clear. They want whoever becomes the Broncos owner to be the face here. They want them to be up on the stage to be the face of the franchise.
We want a person that is going to be present and is going to be engaged and you know, not be distant from his or her franchise. Be very visible, be very present, and you know, that those type of characteristics I think are important, and they're being relayed to the prospective bidders. The bidders all understand that.
All right, so if you're wondering, the Brooklyn Nets actually hold the record sale price. They sold for $2.35 billion in the NFL. That title goes over to the Carolina Panthers. They actually sold for $2.27 billion. But the Broncos, they could exceed that. The thought is they could sell for over $4 billion, you guys. We're in Denver this morning. I'm Veronica ACOSTA, Denver 7.
I would smash that record. Thank you, Veronica. And a little more on that diversity committee you mentioned. The NFL announced some new measures yesterday. One of them is a new requirement for every team to have a minority assistant coach on its offensive staff. The league's commissioner said the NFL will also continue working with civil rights leaders and experts to increase diversity in other key positions, including ownership.
Some of your other news this morning: a ban on urban camping will start in Aurora next month. It narrowly passed City Council last night in a 6-5 vote. It requires 3 days notice before a homeless camp on public property is cleared. The city also has to provide people in the encampment an alternative place to stay. A new amendment includes providing storage for those whose belongings are moved. At last night's meeting, people were still split on whether the ordinance will actually help.
Need more shelters. We don't have nearly enough.
I think that if they're contributing to helping these people find somewhere to go, then, you know, it is a good thing.
Denver, Boulder, and Fort Collins already have homeless camping bans in place.
Also in Aurora, Mayor Mike Kaufman wants to ban new golf courses and grass in the front or side yards of single-family homes. He says it's in part an effort to conserve water as the city's population grows. The mayor said his ordinance would not apply to developments currently in the planning process or any projects with developmental and master plans approved before January of next year. Currently, there is one golf course under development in Aurora. For new homes, grass would only be allowed in the backyard and would be limited to 45% or 500 square feet, whichever's less.
I think that this is about leadership. for the state of Colorado. The state of Colorado has a water crisis. I think as people become more aware of the fact that we have a water crisis and we have to take additional measures, I think they're going to support this plan on a statewide basis, not just in the city of Aurora.
Kaufman said the proposal had unanimous support by committee members. It will go to a study session before heading to the full city council. A major entertainment district is getting millions of dollars in funding to start construction.
Also, we're hearing from actor Will Smith. His apology after that slap on comedian Chris Rock at the Oscars.